tight the clusters are.
Yes, and they get up tight to the vine too, right? Don't they?
Yeah.
Versus the cabs. One of them gets up super tight and it's hard to cut.
No, this one.
That one.
Yeah, it would be this one. The cab.
Yeah.
Yeah, cab would hang down a little bit better, but that looks like, you know, you see the middle right this here. Well, you don't see.
Right.
That's what it looks like on the other side.
Right.
So if you go out and sample the berries, I always try to
go from the back.
Yeah, but you can't see them. But that's good too. So
I was curious about that when you, because they all are turning at different times.
Yeah.
When it's time to harvest.
Yeah.
Are you going to get green berries, or are you waiting until they're all turned?
Well, hopefully they'll all be turned. But if they're like this right now, obviously some are ahead of others.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah. So if it's a late variety that's like in the middle of October, and the frost hits the leaves and nails them, that's what the lake's good for. Is it, you know, if it's like 29 degrees up here, it might be 31 closer to the lake, which is going to be okay, but 28, 29 isn't. So the leaves don't get nailed, because we want these to catch up. And when they actually flower, the little tiny flowers, these probably were a few days behind these. You know, because it takes like a week for them all to flower out. They'll all just instantly do it.
You know, I guess I've never seen that color we're talking about. When you see each phase, then it really sinks in. I guess I've never seen the flowering stage.
Yeah, so that, well, you can hardly see them because they pollinate by wind. So it doesn't matter. So the plants that pollinate with bees have big showy flowers that smell to attract the animals to bees.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Or hummingbirds or whatever. But these are pollinated by the wind, so they don't need to attract.
Right, so they're just tiny and they don't.
So they're just tiny. You can barely see them. So you have to go look.
But you have a picture.
Yeah, let's see if this has pretty simple pictures you can look at. They just look like little.
Okay.
You know, that's just a little thing. That's it.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, that's just past flowers.
So each one of these is going to be a
berry.
A berry.
Yes. And so you see some of them still have petals.
Can you see that from there?
Yep.
Awesome.
And some of them have already started growing.
Well, and I also noticed on them that what do they call them? I'm probably going to get the terminology wrong. Is it Christmas berries? The
Christmas
ones that
clusters,
Christmas clusters. So they'll never produce. How do you know?
Well, those. I mean, some are even flowering. Will flower now. Even.
Oh, so they will produce?
No, they'll be just little green. I mean, they will.
They're like little. How can you tell the difference? Just because they're
just
so
really
tight?
green, and they're like shiny green. And if it's a white grape, it's actually more yellow than than it is green. So they're that real bright green, and they're real hard. So you smash them, and you're gonna get. It's almost like they break. They almost explode.
Oh, okay.
And then they have really green seeds.
Well,
but as far as the plant goes, the benefit to them is that what if something happened that wiped out the whole crop?
That's what I was wondering.
You know, so if they do set some fruit later on, maybe that'll produce some seeds that will at least have something for that year. So that's why they would. And that's why some things come out way early, some things come out way late. And it's some catastrophic to the plant.
Well, and they talk about the primary versus secondary buds, right?
Yeah, you want that here, Micah? And then a little bit. Then those are the buds that make a crop. So there's a primary, secondary, tertiary. And the buds come from the year before. So they grew this year for next year's crop. This year's crop came from last year. And that
came from last year's bud. So it's kind of like my hydrangea. When you see that other bud coming up, and it's like, oh, well, that's going to be next year. You see that in the fall.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how they look, but probably.
I just remember somebody saying that, and it was in the fall, and I'm like, well, it's not going to bud again. That's for next year.
So if you freeze out half of your crop in the winter, and you've already trimmed off half of it, now you're down to a quarter. So that's another thing too with a tender variety. You need to trim them late, and like if you can in early April, but you can't do the whole vineyard in 1 week.
Right.
You know, so, and you have to do them before they start pushing, because then they get these little tender, I forget, buds like that.
Oh, okay.
Once they start growing, and then those break off really easily when you try to tie them on the trellis.
So you don't want that.
Yeah, you want to have them tied before they come out that far.
Right.
So these are random berries. So I went through the vineyard and try not to look, or so you don't take all the nice ones.
Okay.
Or all the ripe ones. So I just try to not see, and then close.
Okay. Not like us when we were doing it in our pre-conference excursion.
Yeah.
Oh, that one looks good.
Yeah.
We were told to get some green ones.
Well, if you were the vineyard manager, probably you would pick all these nice ones.
Right.
And bring them to the winery. And the grower,
if I didn't want to get fired, I mean, it might not last very long.
And the grower here, close to us, he and I go out. We haven't done it in a while, but we've gone out side by side and sampled and compared.
Sure.
You know, so, and then when he brings in samples for another winery, they're like way riper.
Right.
But for us, he's getting representative ones too.
Right.
You know, so, because you pick them all like that, and then you think, oh, this is great, wonderful, you know, bring them in. Then all of a sudden, there's more of those than there are those, and they're not ripe at all. So, you know, a few of them were, but not the, you know, so it wasn't a representative.
That's cool.
So.
Here, so tight.
Yeah, that's the thing, if it's a lot of rain, they'll swell up, and then they'll crack. And the other thing too is they don't dry out inside.
Right,
So,
that was free to get your rot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can see right there.
Yeah, and I actually washed this off. I got this right before lunch, and I washed it off because there was a little bit of spray on it, so just so that you wouldn't have to wash your hands after touching it. So.
I'm good. I was standing in the way of a fertilizer machine the other day, and with all this smoke, and he waited, and we're like, oh, cool, and finally he got off and said, you can't be here. So I'm good.